Today we're talking about one of the most important television institutions in history. No, I'm not talking about the Grammys, the Oscars, the Tonys. I'm talking about the Real Housewives franchise. Let's get into the show. Hey y'all, welcome back. I am your host and producer and creative director, editor, all that good stuff, SophieJo. Welcome back to another episode of the SophieJo, the SophieJo, the SophieJo Show. Yeah, I'm really excited about this episode because to know me is to know that I am a Bravo Housewives stan. So I cannot wait to get into this episode. Housewives Hall of Fame, the Hall of Fame of Housewives. This is in honor of Bravo doing their 20th anniversary Ultimate Girls Trip that is coming on. So I thought I would break down my top housewives of all time and all that good stuff. So let's get right into the episode. So let's first start off with what makes a great housewife, okay? Is it someone who comes from fame, somebody who comes from social media influence, someone who has a rich husband, somebody who is rich, wealthy, well-known, a socialite? All these things, in my opinion, equate to a great housewife. Well, not really the whole social media influencer thing, because I'd rather, like back in the day, old housewives, when we got to know people who were actual housewives, not because they were, influencers or famous already. They were just living the rich and fabulous life behind the gates that we ain't know about. So I welcome you to the Real Housewives Hall of Fame. This is my personal Mount Rushmore of housewives. Now, before anybody out there gets mad, because I know some people will get mad at my opinions, okay? These are my opinions. Let me give you what established my criteria, okay? First off, I literally grew up watching Housewives. 2008 is when Atlanta Housewives premiered. I was 10 years old. Why was I watching grown women at 10 on reality TV? I don't know, but I loved it, okay? 10, 11 years old. I've been watching Housewives majority of my life, basically. So that makes me eligible, a candidate to critique and give my Hall of Famers for Housewives, okay? I don't want, because I come from that era, okay, I appreciate the authenticity of a true housewife. I don't want somebody who's already famous. I don't want somebody, like I said, who's a big social media personality. I want people who were housewives before Bravo came knocking on their door, okay? Real housewives. And definitely not somebody who is on the show to start and promote their new business venture. Oh, please. I can smell the fakeness through the camera. I want the total package when it comes to housewives. I want the money. I want the looks. I want the fashions. I want the friendships. I want the messiness, the charity events. I want the parties. I want the family vacations. I want the kids, the dog, the cat. I want the nanny. Okay? I want the makeup artist. I want all of it. The total package for a housewife. Not the pre-produced, pre-packaged stuff that we get in nowadays. I want authenticity. Because I think that's what made Housewives really jump off, is that we were able to get a glimpse into the life of what we thought was the rich and fabulous. Not really rich and famous. It became famous from being on the show, but just the rich and fabulous. What's going on behind those gates? So basically, I want the full lifestyle when it comes down to Housewives, right? And now, whether that lifestyle is legit, whether it's real or it's fugazi, I don't really care. I just want to watch it. So another piece of criteria for these housewives: real relationships with fellow cast members. They don't have to be the best of friends, but at least acquaintances, right? Somebody, at least y'all know of each other. Y'all kind of run in the same semicircle. Nowadays, the housewives, it's just like, oh, we're getting together, these random girls. We're going to put y'all in a room together. You need to be her friend. You need to have this business. You need to push this narrative. No, let's get people who genuinely know each other. Let's think back to Potomac, the early days. They know each other for real, for real. And then we were able to see the relationships and the dynamics blossom and bloom from there. Same with Atlanta. Same with Jersey. They knew each other already. Not saying best of friends, but they knew of each other. Not random girls put together in a conference room. One. And lastly, is it too much to ask for a girl to get married people on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Because if not, we need to change the name of the show. I'm not saying every single person needs to be married, but my God, is it too much to ask for to have a husband running around through the background of a scene one time? So I ask you, who makes the Hall of Fame? Now, I'm going to give you some names, and some of them might rub you the wrong way. I don't know. But guess what? This is my Hall of Fame. Let's get into it. First contender, Nene Leakes. Shall I say anymore? There would be no housewife specifically of Atlanta, but period, in my opinion, if it wasn't for the big dog, Nene Leakes. In my opinion, Nene is housewife royalty when it comes to quick-witted, her personality, her comedic timing, just someone being able to walk into a room and, like she said, literally own it and become the moment of the room. Not many housewives have that it factor, that aura. So Nene is that girl when it comes to reality TV, because she knows to be a great reality star, you have to, number one, be yourself, but also know that you're on a reality show and be able to really work the room, work the cameras. But once again, still being able to be authentic. And that's what Nene gives. That's what Nene is. And I don't know everything that's going on with the whole NBC, Universal, and Bravo thing with Nene, but I hope one day we will see her back on our Bravo screens. I hope so. Next up for the Hall of Fame, Karen Huger. Now, before I finish this list, it may seem like my list is a tiny bit biased because majority of these ladies are black, but I mean, that's just it is what it is, okay? So Karen Huger from Potomac, of Housewives of Potomac, the Grand Dame. I love me some Karen. I hate the whole thing she went through with the DUI and all that, but aside from that, Karen is perfect for TV. I'm always going to start off with the looks because I love a good look. So she gives the looks. Now, Karen really is a real housewife. That's what I was talking about. We want to see behind the gates. She literally was a kept woman behind the scenes, living this, what seemed to be fabulous life. Husband with bukus of money, the black Bill Gates, as she said. And she navigated and networked within this friend circle, and that's how she was able to be on Housewives of Potomac. Karen is going to tell you Karen is going to tell you what she's thinking, tell it like it is, but she also has the ability to be like classy and pulled up and pulled together also. It's not just so boisterous and loud in your face, if that makes sense. She's a good shader. She's a good reader. Robin can't stand a chance when it comes down to Karen. And Karen is she is a housewife, in my opinion. And I also love that Karen is older. Like, I don't think every housewife has to be, 30 and up. I love that Karen is in her 60s and pushing P and killing it. So let's get back to that as well, right? The age dynamic. Let's mix it up again. Now, who gonna check me, boo? Miss Sheree Whitfield herself. Sheree being a top housewife is controversial, but Sheree was there from the very beginning. She used to give the looks. Now she wears a lot of athleisure, which is whatever. But Sheree, especially in her prime, housewife material, left a very, financially well husband who was in the NFL, beautiful kids and family. She wanted this huge mansion, finally got it. This clothing line that she started but didn't start for real. She ain't quick with it, but Sheree definitely is kind of shady. Very funny, especially in the early days. She was more classy and upheld and all that good stuff. Sheree has given us some classic TV moments. I mean, Who Gonna Check Me, Boo? Spring Summer Joggers. Hell to the no. I mean, Sheree has given us classic moments. And I didn't even mention any of Nene's classic moments because there's too many to name. All the memes, all the GIFs that have come from Nene being on our TV screens. Iconic. Next up for Housewives Hall of Fame, Teresa Giudice. I mean, that's not a question. I didn't watch New Jersey Housewives in the early days and in the beginning, but I did get into it like later on. Teresa is golden. She is reality TV gold. I mean, she, of course, have had her iconic moments and seemed very hot-tempered, and that's what really stood out for Teresa. But just us watching her entire family dynamic change and everything that happened, and her kids growing up, and her husband, her new husband, all that, being in the mix of the friend group, having money, having access, having... In my opinion, the Jersey girls cannot dress. That's just my opinion. So I'm not going to really give too much props when it comes to the looks and the fashions over there. But Teresa, once again, a great example and epitome of housewife. Iconic. Now, let's get into somebody who changed the game up a little bit. She said, I'm going to come in my way and do it how I want to do it. I don't care what you think. Miss Phaedra Parks. Phaedra was one of the housewives who came on and, in my opinion, almost kind of paved the way for Dr. Wendy as well, because she came in not just like, oh, I'm a housewife like a Nene or a Sheree, but I am, a businesswoman. I am smart. I have education. I have this great looking husband. I have a baby on the way. I am the total package, but I'm not just relying on my husband. I have my, I'm here by my own merit, basically. And we got to know the Southern Belle. The Southern Belle was shady as hell, and we loved it. Now, don't get me wrong, Miss Faye, in my opinion, she can do a good old nasty lie every now and then. But I kind of look past it because I feel like everybody lies a little bit, huh? I think the older Phaedra back in the day was a little bit more entertaining than the Phaedra we have now. She's not as funny and not as shady, I guess. Maybe because she's maturing, I don't know. But definitely have given us some iconic moments on reality TV. Okay? And also, I want to say this about Phaedra. I don't know why people, when it comes down to her being a lawyer, it's like it's this scandal or something that's not true. She went to UGA. She has her doctorate or whatever. She is a real bona fide lawyer. I don't know why people are always like, is she really? Is she? She is. You can't just fake that. I know people are going around pretending to be doctors and all that, but Phaedra actually went to college, graduated, all the good stuff, and is a real lawyer attorney. Next, of course, we have Portia Williams Stewart Gobadia. Portia came from actually being a real housewife, right? And then we have literally seen Portia change, evolve, grow right in front of our eyes, because we remember how Portia was when she first came on the show. Very reserved, conservative. Oh, my husband doesn't want me to. Oh, now she's like dotting and bopping. But Portia, great housewife, even to this day. She's kind of holding down Housewives of Atlanta right now, in my opinion. And Portia's going to give the look. She's going to give some shade. She's going to give a little bit of ditziness. She's going to give a tiny little bit of delusion. But she's willing to share every piece of her life with the world and with us, the fans and the screen. And that's why people love Portia. She has been messy, funny, caught up in a scandal, vulnerable, and she's still here. She's still on the TV. She didn't let nobody trick her out of her spot, and that's what makes a housewife. From Housewives of Beverly Hills, also in my Hall of Fame, Erica Jane. Erica Jane, I know, kind of controversial as well, but just from a TV entertainment point alone, Erica gave Housewife, okay? For sure with the looks. Erica, in my opinion, Erica's one of the top dressing housewives out there. She gave us money. She gave us the lifestyle. She gave us, like I said, a real housewife. She also gave mystery, because it's some tricky stuff that was going on with her marriage. But she has been open and vulnerable with us, watching the whole thing fall apart, rise up, come back down, rise up again. And you know what I do like about Erica Jane? Because I'd be like, I wonder if Erica got some black friends. Because Erica is very quick-witted. She's quick to tell you how she's feeling. She don't bite her tongue. I love it. Makes for great TV. Especially when she used to go head-to-head with Sutton. Oh, can't stand Sutton. Now, someone else who I feel like isn't mentioned that much, because we didn't get too many seasons out of her, but I love me some Monique Samuels. When she first came on Potomac Housewives, she had Giselle bothered so bad. Monique, once again, was a housewife, a literal housewife. And she lived that aesthetic lifestyle that we wanted to see. She came in, actually very nice, very sweet. But we found out she is not the one to be played with or messed with when it came to her family. Because we all know that iconic binder scene at the reunion in that yellow that lives on in history to this day. Okay, so I just want to give Monique Samuels her flowers. Now, another Potomac girl. I guess I really like Potomac. I didn't really realize it until I made this episode, this list. Dr. Wendy. I love Dr. Wendy. I love that she came in very confident, very, oh, I'm smart. I have 4 degrees. What do you girls have? Nothing but your husband's credit card. I love it all. And now we've seen her fashions evolve into what they are now. She looks great. She's had a little bit of work done. Chef's kiss because it looks good. And Wendy is great TV. And side note, I hope whatever she's going through legally with her husband, I hope it's all like, what's it called? False, not false. Guilty, not guilty. Innocent. I hope she's innocent, and I hope they don't end up going to prison. So, shout out to Wendy. Lastly, in my Housewife Hall of Fame, say what you want, but hey, Jen Shaw was doing a big one on the TV screens all before all the crap happened, and she taking advantage of old people and their money. Jen Shaw, to be a new series, Housewives of Salt Lake City, Jen Shaw came in with her diverse family and her husband and her fashions and her friendships and her social status and her connections and her events and parties. Housewife material. I hate how everything went down, and I hate, the unethical things that she was doing. But when we're talking about just entertainment, just housewife TV, Jen Shaw, she deserves a little bit of props. Sorry. I think she helped put Salt Lake City on the map. Even though she's no longer on the show, I don't think the show would have been what it is if she wasn't in the first couple seasons doing her biggest one. All right, now that we've talked about actual Bravo housewives, guys, I was thinking about this all night. There are so many, in my mind, hidden gems of real housewives in the celebrity world that I just want to share. The real housewife herself, Justine Simmons. I'm talking about Rev Run's wife. If y'all grew up watching Run's House, I literally love that show so much. I wanted to be in a family, but I'm not. Justine Simmons, a true housewife, a kept woman, living large, living a fab life, taking care of the kids, taking care of the household, all that good stuff, but she still has her own mind and her own opinion. We will see her every now and then wear them minks when they go on their little trips and them bags, and she's just fabulosity, but she's a little bit more reserved in her fabulousness. But Justine Simmons, the ultimate housewife herself. Another housewife, Coco Austin, Ice-T, the rapper, his wife, a real housewife. She has her own taste. Would I wear some of the stuff she wears? Absolutely not. But giving real housewife tease. Someone else. Now this lady here, fabulous. Gives it hands down. Got to give her 10s. Marjorie Harvey, Steve Harvey's wife, a real housewife. She gonna make sure Steve looking good, okay? And he never takes a chance. He never misses a chance to give her her flowers of helping him accelerate his career and his overall image. Marjorie Harvey, she's going to give the girls a look, okay? The lady is like, she could be my mom, but even I'm taking fashion tips and all kinds of stuff from her. She takes care of herself, and it shows. She looks good. she's just a real housewife. I don't know how else to explain. Now, we don't see a peek into her social group and her, parties and her friend dynamic. And we see a little bit of her family dynamic, but they have a blended family. We see them on beautiful, expensive trips and yachts and vacations. Her purses, her bag collection is insane. A true ultimate housewife, Marjorie Harvey. Another two ladies from New York, Emily B. and Gia, DJ Envy's wife. Now, I've never known these ladies to work, like have, you know what I'm saying, like really work. And I feel like they've been kept, which is a good thing in my opinion. And they give the looks. They give the expensive family vacations, the family dynamic, the friend groups, the partying, the lifestyle of a housewife. I heard that I heard that Gia was kind of like being mentioned of being on Housewives of New Jersey, but I guess it never happened. Or having like her own reality show. I love to look into the rich and famous and fabulous people's lives. So if that's a reality show that's coming down the pipeline, I tune in. I'm not really sure how she would get along with the like original cast of Jersey though. Because I hate when there's like a group of all one race and then they throw one token black person in there, because it's never going to go well, in my opinion. With all that being said, that brings us to now Bravo's 20th anniversary Ultimate Housewife Girls Trip. On there's Vicky from Orange County, Portia from Atlanta, Luann from New York, Giselle from Potomac, Kyle Richards from Beverly Hills, and Lisa Barlow from Salt Lake City. I just want to give my quick opinion of who I think it should have been. I think for Bravo's Ultimate Girls Trip, it should have been Vicky from Orange County. In a perfect world, Nene from Atlanta instead of Portia. Kyle Richards is good for Beverly Hills. She's been there since forever. I think it should have been Karen Huger for Potomac and not Giselle. But I know Karen was like, doing her other stuff during that time. So, okay. Teresa, of course, for Jersey. Luann for Roni. And for Salt Lake City, I don't think it should have been Lisa Barlow. In a perfect world, I would have did Jen Shaw or Meredith. I don't think Lisa Barlow, but that's who we have. But at the end of the day, I don't think we watch Housewives because these women are perfect. I think we watch because they're fascinating. You mean to tell me you're doing all this on a random Tuesday? It's interesting to watch. And my final thoughts are, I don't necessarily want to watch someone become a Bravo housewife. I want to watch someone who already is a housewife, and then we just pull the cameras in and start recording, if that makes sense. So those are my Housewife Hall of Famers. Let's go back through them one more time. My Housewife Hall of Famers: Nene Leakes, Portia Williams, Erica Jane, Teresa Giudice, Karen Huger, Wendy Osefo, Jen Shaw, Sheree Whitfield, Phaedra Parks. A lot of black people, but hey, I'm black, so I'm biased. Anyways, that's my take on Housewife Hall of Famers, my Mount Rushmore of Housewives. Y'all let me know who yours are, and I will see you in the next episode of the SophieJo Show.